There's a task you've been meaning to do. You know it matters. You have the time. You even want it done. And still, you open something else instead. A video, a snack, a room that suddenly needs cleaning. Most people have a word for that. They call it laziness. It isn't. And once you understand what it actually is, the whole thing looks different. Not easier exactly, but different in a way that finally makes sense. Start with the difference between the two, because people mix them up constantly. Laziness is not wanting to do something. You feel no pull toward it, and you feel fine about that. Procrastination is the opposite. You want it done, you plan to do it, you feel bad about not doing it, and you still don't do it. Those are not the same problem. A lazy person feels calm. A person who is procrastinating feels awful. The guilt, the low hum of dread, the clock in the corner, that bad feeling is the whole tale. You do not feel guilty about things you don't care about. The guilt is proof that you care. So if it isn't a character flaw, and it clearly isn't laziness, what is it? The researchers who study this for a living landed on an answer that surprises most people. Procrastination is not a time management problem. It's a mood management problem. Dr. Tim Pychyl, who spent his career studying this at Carleton University, put it about as plainly as it can be put. Procrastination, he said, is giving in to feel good now. When a task makes you feel something unpleasant, boredom, self-doubt, confusion about where to start, the quiet fear that it won't be good enough, your mind looks for the fastest way to make that feeling stop. Not the fastest way to finish the task, the fastest way to end the feeling. Sit with that, because it changes everything about how you fight it. You're not avoiding the work. You're avoiding the way the work makes you feel. And the phone in your pocket, the open tab, the snack in the kitchen, they make that feeling disappear in about 2 seconds. They're not distractions. They're the relief. There's a reason that relief is so hard to turn down. Part of your brain is built to protect how you feel in this exact moment. Another part is built to plan and provide for the version of you that has to live tomorrow. Most of the time they cooperate, but when they disagree, when the task is unpleasant now, but important later, the part that lives in the present usually wins. It's louder and it's faster, and it doesn't care about next week. A researcher named Hal Hershfield studied how we think about our future selves. What he found is hard to forget. When people picture themselves years down the road, the brain treats that future person almost like a stranger, not fully you, someone you don't quite know and don't feel much for. Think about what that means for a task you push to tomorrow. You're not escaping it. You are handing it to a stranger you don't have a lot of sympathy for. That's why tomorrow always feels like such a safe place to put things. Tomorrow is someone else's problem. It just happens to be someone who wears your face and answers to your name. Here's the part that keeps the whole thing spinning. Avoiding the task does work for a few minutes. The bad feeling lifts, you get real relief, and your brain quietly files that away. Avoiding felt good. So the next time the task comes back around, the pull to avoid is a little stronger because last time it paid off. This is the trap. The relief is real, but it's borrowed. You pay it back later with interest, as stress, as a rush job at midnight, as the same task now sitting on top of everything else you were also avoiding. Fuschia Sirois, who studies this alongside Pychyl, found something sobering. People who procrastinate more tend to carry more stress over time and even worse health, not because they're weak people, because they keep making the same trade, a long-term cost for a short-term feeling, over and over until the costs stack up into something serious. That's the honest picture. It's not a moral failure, it's a loop, and the loop makes sense once you see the pieces, which means it can be interrupted. I want to be careful here because this is where most videos start lying to you. I am not going to promise you a trick that ends procrastination for good. I haven't found one, and I don't trust anyone who says they have. But the research does point somewhere useful, and it's not where most people look. Most people reach for more discipline, grit your teeth, force it, shame yourself into moving. If procrastination were laziness, that might work, but it isn't, so it usually doesn't. If the real problem is a feeling, then the answer is not more force. It's making the feeling smaller. 3 things do that, and they're simpler than they sound. The dread gets attached to the whole task, the entire report, the full workout, the hard conversation you've been rehearsing for a week. So stop asking yourself to do the whole thing. Ask for the first 2 minutes of it and nothing more. Open the document and write 1 bad sentence. Put on the shoes and step outside. Send the first line of the message. The feeling is attached to the mountain. It has very hard time attaching to a single step. And most of the time, once you've taken the step, the rest is easier than the dread promised it would be. The starting is the hard part. You're just making the start too small to be scary. This next one sounds backwards, so stay with me for a second. A study by Wohl and his colleagues followed students through a set of exams. They tracked who procrastinated and how those students felt about it afterwards. The students who forgave themselves for procrastinating the first time went on to procrastinate less the next time. The ones who beat themselves up about it did worse. Listen to that again, because it runs against everything we're taught. The guilt you feel for putting something off is not helping you get moving. It is just another bad feeling, and bad feelings are the exact fuel that procrastination runs on. Every time you pile shame on top of dread, you have given yourself one more thing to want to escape from. Letting the last time go is not going soft on yourself. It's removing the very thing that starts the loop all over again. You forgive the delay so you can stop feeding it. And that stranger, your future self, the more real you make that person, the harder it is to quietly hand them your problems. It doesn't take much. People who write a short note to their future self, or who stop and picture the specific morning when the undone task lands back in their lap, find it a little harder to look away. You're not tricking yourself. You're turning the stranger back into you, reminding the present, loud part of your brain that the person paying for this is not some distant someone. None of this makes the task fun. It doesn't make the bad feeling vanish. What it does is it takes the problem out of the category of something is wrong with me and puts it where it actually belongs. This is a feeling. Feelings can be handled. You have handled harder ones than this. You were never lazy. You were doing what every human brain is built to do, reaching for relief from something unpleasant. That's not a defect. It's standard equipment. The difference now is that you know what the relief costs, and you know where the real lover is. So the next time you catch yourself stalling, don't ask how to force it. Ask a better question. Ask, what feeling are you trying to get away from? Name it, then make the first step small enough that the feeling can't hold on. Start there. There's another behavior almost everyone does and almost no one understands. Why we're drawn to people who pull away from us and cool on the ones who don't. That one is next. I'll see you there.